Joining us right now, one of our favorites to tell us what he thinks about the National Football League, three-time Super Bowl champion and NFL on Fox analyst, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Schlereth back in the program. What's up, bud? How are you, sir? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you, Rich? Always good to be with you, buddy.
Right back at you. Your thoughts on the Monday night doubleheader? I'll give you the floor on anything that jumps out at you about last night's two-pack to end week two. Mark?
Baker Mayfield's all balls. How about that?
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is talk about incredible. And I love the journey. I love the process, right? Going from Cleveland, going to the playoffs, and then going 8-9 the next year, getting dumped, going to Carolina. At one point, I remember showing pictures on a broadcast of Baker Mayfield running scout team defensive end, and then he gets cut from Carolina, signs with the Rams, has that game. I think it's a Christmas Day game against the Broncos where he hangs like 50 on them, which ended Nathaniel Hackett's, head coaching tenure with Denver. And what he's done in Tampa Bay, gambling on himself, just to watch this journey, to watch the guy grow up, to watch what he did at the end of the game, 4th down and 10, scrambles. You got a free runner at him. He makes him miss and then scrambles for that 10-yard and leads them to a touchdown drive. That dude, that is a guy, when you're a player in this league, that you want to play with. That's a dude you want on your team. That's a dude that everybody hates, that plays against you, and everybody in your locker room absolutely loves. And I tell you what, I can't say enough good things about Baker Mayfield. Bucky Irvin is unbelievable. What a football player that guy is. But both their starting tackles are down. Both starting tackles are out. And they find a way to win that game. My former teammate, Todd Bowles, the head coach, Touche 2-0 for the 5th or 6th straight year they started the season 2-0. Good for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, again, not to compare, and I love Baker, but not to compare him to John Elway. The only reason why I bring him up is you blocked for a guy who was first overall who would play all, as you just pointed out, and put his body on the line and do things like helicoptering in Super Bowls and stuff like that. When Baker does what we've just been talking about, what's it like for an offensive lineman to welcome him back to the huddle? What is that like? How does that put a charge in that huddle, Mark?
Listen, man, I go back to kind of probably the signature play in Broncos history, in Elway's history. You mentioned it, the helicopter. And, that's a 3rd down and 6 play, and we had 100%. It was 100% the Green Bay Packers were going to play out of this formation on that position in the field. They would play this particular defense 100% of the time. And John had asked Coach Shanahan and goes, well, what if they don't? Well, it's 100%. They're going to play it. Well, of course, what happens in the Super Bowl, they don't play it. And so the play we called is no good against the defense we called. So John scrambles to his right, takes off. It's a 3rd down and 6, gets hit simultaneously by 3 Green Bay Packers, does the whirly bird, and we're all running down there to try to hoist him up. But at that point, as you're walking back to the huddle, Rich, you just are like, there is no freaking way. He's 37 years old. He's sacrificing his body. There is no freaking way the Green Bay Packers are going to beat us today. It's almost like a Herb Brooks thing, right? Not today.
Right.
If we play them 10 times, they'll beat us 9 times, but not today, boys. And that's what it felt like, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, I bet, man. And the Bucs being 2-0, but the Chargers are 2-0 as well. And you want to talk about a tackle being out, Rashawn Slater, that would normally sink a team, but it's so great to have a 5th overall pick and Joe Alt right there, and he's making it look easy, and not against any pikers either. I mean, against the Chiefs and the Raiders, your assessment of what the Chargers have looked like after 2 weeks, Mark?
I love the philosophy of Jim Harbaugh. When they drafted Alt, he said, hey, man, that's an offensive weapon, tip of the spear. And it is so hard to move from the right side to the left side. It is a really difficult thing to do. I know it doesn't sound hard, but it really is hard. And, you make it akin to all of a sudden writing a term paper with your left hand if you're right-handed. It's hard to do. And everything turns backwards. Your feet are backwards. Your different hand is on the ground. As a matter of fact, in my playing days, there were 3 guys When I switched from right guard in Washington to left guard in Denver, I messed a whole year with my stance, trying to feel comfortable coming off the ball. And I tried going left-handed. I tried doing all that stuff. And what convinced me not to is two of the best players in the National Football League at that time as offensive linemen both played in the AFC and both played left guard with their hand down and their right hand down. And that was Bruce Matthews and that was Steve Wisniewski. And so I was like, screw it, man. I'm not changing my stance. I'm playing with my right hand down. And that's the way it's going to be, because I couldn't switch over. And then to see Alt just jump over there and have no issues with it, absolutely incredible. And you think about this, they play the Broncos this weekend. So the Chargers, I've never seen this before, Rich, and I'm sure it's happened before in the past, but I don't remember it, and I've never seen it. They start and open up a Friday night with Kansas City. Then they play on a Monday night against the Vegas Raiders, and now they're going to play Sunday against the Broncos. 3 divisional opponents in a row. You think about this. If the Chargers are able to beat the Broncos in SoFi, I mean, how big a lock do you have on the division right now in the first 3 weeks of the season? It's incredible.
Yeah, they'd have a 1.5 game lead on the Broncos, right? Or 2.5 game lead on the Broncos. They could make the Broncos 1-2 with one in their pocket against them. The Raiders, they've already beaten. And the Chiefs, they're up currently right now 2.5 games on the 9 times in a row AFC West winners. And they've been looking, I mean, dominant. Dominant. Yeah, certainly on defense. They've been looking absolutely dominant over the first 8 quarters. And as you pointed out, one more thing. They play on every different day of the week. They play on a Friday, on a Monday, on a Sunday. They play in the Southern Hemisphere. They'll play in the Northern Hemisphere. They'll play in Nevada. They'll play at home. I mean, it's just like a Dr. Seuss rhyme. They don't care where they would have to do it. They're just ready to dominate.
Yeah, you know? I used to have a coach in college say, we'll drive to Salmon, Idaho, and play in the parking lot. We don't give a rip. And you know, and that's part of the deal. Now they lost Khalil Mack. I don't know how long he is. I haven't read the reports this morning.
Looked bad.
How long he'll be out, but it looked bad. So that is never a good thing. But man, I tell you, defense and being able to dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, that stuff travels. There is no question about it. And as a public service announcement to all your wonderful fans, because I know you have a ton of them.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to let you guys know that I checked, and the Chiefs are still in last place.
Look at you, man. Look at the PSA troll job from Mark Schlereth. All right, let's jump into there. I mean, the Chiefs lose in Brazil, although they had a chance to win it at the end if Chris Jones didn't take the path that he took on 3rd and 14 at Justin Herbert. And then this past week as well, a lack of a connection between Mahomes and Kelsey, what they could normally do in their sleep, leads to a quick turnaround in a game that they still had a chance to win. I mean, 0-2 against the Chargers and the Eagles, they might play in the Super Bowl against each other. So how dire do you think things are for the Chiefs, Mark?
No, I don't think they're dire. I think the Chiefs are still a damn good football team. I just, it's just been so long. It's been just a long, dry walk through the desert, especially if you're an AFC West fan of anybody other than the Chiefs. So, it's just good old-fashioned sports hate, and I have a lot of it for the Chiefs. I have a ton of respect for them and what they've been able to accomplish. They're going to get players back. Rashee Rice will come back eventually. I love what they did in the draft. The Josh Simmons kid. He was my favorite player coming out, my favorite offensive lineman of all the guys I studied. I think he's incredibly gifted. I know he had the patella tendon issue coming out and tore it at Ohio State, but that kid is so freaking talented. He's so good. I don't know what the report on Worthy is when he'll be back, but the demise of the Chiefs, I think, is greatly over-exaggerated. I think they'll be fine. They will eventually win a game, and at the end of the year, I believe they'll be right back in the thick of things. But it couldn't have started any better for those of us who are a little bit we're a little bit triggered by the Chiefs, and we're a little bit just sick of the Chiefs and their winning ways.
Yeah, well, I mean, people are beginning to feel that way about the Tush Push too. coming out of that game where it was a clear false start on the Eagles. At one point, a ball comes loose too. You can't tell. You can't officiate it. Can't replay it. Your colleague and my former colleague at the NFL network in the NFL, and Dean Blandino says, I'm over it. But yeah. I mean, I feel like I ask you every time you come on, where do you stand on this issue now? Any change? What do you got?
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, I think it's, it is a football play. I know it's hard to officiate. They always look like they're offsides 100% of the time when they run it. There are a lot of things that people complain about in regards to that. My biggest issue, and the reason I said I would ban it, is not because I don't think it's a football play, and not because I don't want the Philadelphia Eagles to have that advantage. I was part of the league in a time where we'd line up on special teams, PAT field goal, and you'd have a dude that would be, for me, it was in Washington with Mike Tice. I would be standing behind Mike Tice, shoving him through the A-gap between the guard and the center, trying to get elevation and penetration so that he could block he's 6'7", so he could block a PT or a field goal. And eventually the league made that illegal. You can't aid a rusher. So wait a minute, it's illegal on special teams, but it's not illegal on offense. How is that congruent? And the answer is it's not. And so that's the only thing that really bothers me, is that, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. You should be able to do that on the other side of the ball then. And if it's illegal on the other side of the ball, then it should be illegal on the offensive side of the ball as well.
Mark Schlereth, a few minutes left with the NFL on Fox analyst right here on the Rich Eisen Show. You have Raiders Commanders this week, correct? Is that your next
Yes,
game?
that is correct.
Okay, when do you normally Zoom with staffs or quarterbacks? When does that normally happen for you?
I don't Zoom with anybody. I go to practice.
Okay, look at you.
I like to go in the building, and then I go to the team hotel when the team comes in. So I will be Friday. I will be at the Commanders facility. Stealing. They've got a big tray of beef jerky out there, so I always load my bag up as I walk back in from practice. They got drinks and they got things for the players. And, I feel like I'm a former player. So once a Redskin, always a Redskin. So I grab a bunch of jerky and I shove it in my bag. And so I'll be there Friday. And then Saturday morning, bright and early, I will head over to the Raiders team hotel and meet with Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll and Gino and Max.
All right. Two things from what you just said. One, you'll know this. I guess new ownership there is upgraded. It used to be just jerky there. Now it's beef jerky. And secondly, I noticed you mentioned a starting quarterback that you're going to visit with the Raiders, but you didn't with the Commanders. And that is because
Jaden Daniels has
no, man. What that would be monumental. There's just no listen, with all due respect to Marcus Mariota, but monumental.
Monumental. It'll be interesting too, because the breakdown with those guys was Mariota, the text that, we're on this text thread with the organizations. So it was Mariota or Jaden Daniels, depending on what the situation, what the status is on Friday. So that's what we've got there. I will say this, we talk about sophomore slumps. We talk about some of those things. I think that Jaden, having watched both games and really broken down both games, from the coach's tape, a lot of errant throws, a lot of throws behind players, a lot of off-target throws so far early in the season. First game, they really did a good job running the football. They had they're very tricky in their run game. A lot of misdirection stuff. Obviously, Jaden Daniels so good at holding the backside edge because he can run and all those things. Second game against Green Bay, not so much. And you got to tip your cap to the Green Bay Packers. I think ultimately I've watched pretty much every play of every game so far this year, Rich. And I thought the Green Bay Packers on tape are the best team in the National Football League that I've seen through the first 2 weeks.
Well, I guess the Lions and Commanders would agree with you, right? And we just had Jordan Love in hour number 1, and you saw what the Lions did when they weren't playing Green Bay. Again, I understand week 1 is different from week 2. Road is clearly different from home. And, there was that extra juice in the building because of the narrative that the Lions aren't going to be the same because Ben Johnson is gone and Ben Johnson was there, and thus a 50 burger was served up. I understand all that. But I guess if Jaden Daniels is as healthy as they hope he can be to take on the Raiders, we'll see what the Commanders look like when not taking on the Packers. And then there's a Raiders team last night that the Chargers kind of toyed around with on defense. So I guess that's my way of transitioning to what you saw from the Raiders on Monday night going into this game on a short week on the road, early window, too. That's not easy for a West Coast team to do.
Yeah, for sure. I thought in week one, I thought the Raiders against New England played really well. I thought play action wise, Geno was really sharp. He did throw one interception in that particular game, but I thought he was really sharp. I am just waiting for Ashton Genty, and like my Kansas City Chiefs take, he played for Boise State, which makes me want to vomit. But the kid is unbelievable. He is a breakout run ready, just waiting to happen. He's going to have one of those 60-yarders. I mean, this kid is dynamic. He is special. I just thought discipline-wise, now the Raiders turned it over. Geno threw 3 picks. Second half, it wasn't very good. But I thought their week one performance was pretty good, and I thought they had fixed a lot of things that weren't very good from last year. I thought their offensive line, their scheme was better. I thought they protected better. And defensively, they're playing with unbelievable effort. And that was really, that for me has been really cool to watch them. Like Max Crosby, one of my notes was Max Crosby will ruin a game without compiling one statistic. He is one of those guys that he may not have a tackle, he may not have a sack, he may not have a pressure, and he'll completely ruin your game. It is unreal to watch the guy play, the effort with which he gives and the understanding when he sees certain formations. You can tell that on tape, you can tell that he just knows what they're running. It's like, oh, I'm in their playbook. And he's a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to talk to. And his style of play, I think, is infectious for that whole Raiders organization. So they're a much improved, last night notwithstanding, I believe they're a much improved football team.
And then lastly for you, Mark, you said you've seen pretty much every snap of every game so far through the first 2 weeks. That's, we could do the math for you. That's 32 games. So you mentioned that the Packers are the best team that you've seen so far. What about the AFC? We can talk Bills. You could talk about the Chargers. Obviously, You've got yourself the Colts at 2-0 as well. You've got, the Cincinnati Bengals at 2-0, but without Burrow now. I mean, who's the best team in the AFC that you've seen? Mark, could be the Ravens too. What do you got?
Yeah, the Ravens, obviously, what the Bills have done, the Bills are really good because they're so balanced on the offensive side of the ball. And, they gave up 40 points to Baltimore, but Baltimore will do that to a lot of people because their scheme is so hard to defend. I love what the Chargers are doing because they're winning both lines of scrimmage. They're just beating people up. So I think they're a really good football team as well. And so they've been fun for me to watch. I'm telling you, the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm not going to call them the best team, but maybe one of the coolest stories, because what Daniel Jones did to a Broncos defense that we all assumed was going to be the best defense in the National Football League, what they did, Shane Steichen, from a game planning standpoint, running the boot keep game, running the quick game, if they're going to drop back and take a 7-stepper, it's going to be off a play pass with a 2-man route. The way they ran, they attacked the C gaps. They attacked smaller defensive edge players in that game, and they just set plays up, and they attacked coverages, and they attacked players in open spaces. And I just thought it was an incredible game plan. I thought it was an incredible execution. I thought their offensive line, when they had one-on-ones, they won all their one-on-ones. So I just thought from a physical standpoint, and then Danny Dimes, who, let's face it, was a disappointment in New York and really never kind of achieved what they thought he could achieve. Danny Dimes is playing as good as anybody in the league right now. So it's a really tip of the cap to Steichen, the Colts, and to Danny Dimes, who continues, we kind of wrote him off, and didn't think he was going to be worth a crap. And through 2 games, man, the guy has played his butt off.
Yeah, we're calling him Danny Diamonds if he keeps playing that way.
Danny
Mark,
Diamonds, there you go, or Indiana
Dimes.
Jones.
Yeah, Danny Dimes it's not valuable enough the way he's playing.
Yeah.
Mark, thanks for the time. Love chatting with you, man. Always.
Absolutely, Rich. Take care, brother.
Enjoy the beef jerky, sir.
I will.
Words I've never said to another man, but I think it worked. Mark Schlereth right here. Check him out on Fox. Raiders, Commanders, early window. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.